Ready for a deep dive? We're tackling Thomas Aquinas today. And yeah, you're right, it's about going way beyond St. Thomas. Why is this guy still mattering centuries later? Let's get into it.
Aquinas, he was all about those big questions, the kind we still ask. Faith, reason, is there really a God? And his answers, they still echo even outside theology. It's pretty amazing.
No dusty old scholar here, that's for sure. So, Aquinas' life, noble birth, Benedictine education,
Right.
you'd think he was set for a life of, well, ease, not exactly theological debate.
Right, privilege, comfort, that's the expected path. But then, bam, he joined the Dominicans. A life of poverty, service. Family was not on board.
No, I imagine not. They actually imprisoned him, trying to
Sure.
change his mind. That's serious.
They were determined, yeah. But Aquinas, he was even more determined. That's some serious conviction.
It makes his impact even more impressive. Speaking of impressive, Albert the Great, his mentor,
Albertus Magnus, a legend. Studying with him, Aquinas was at the cutting edge of medieval thought, like a masterclass in philosophy, theology, the works.
okay, so top-notch education, check. But Aquinas, he doesn't just absorb it, he builds on it. Writing powerhouse, respected professor at the University of Paris.
Already a rock star back then.
Right. And then there's this. Aquinas didn't see faith and reason as enemies. They worked together for him.
Exactly. He said it best. Grace does not destroy nature, but perfects it. Faith and reason, two sides of the same coin, you could say.
So less about choosing sides, more about seeing how they work together.
That's Aquinas. He believed that reason, guided by faith, could help us understand ourselves, the universe, everything. And his 5 ways of proving God's existence, that's a perfect example.
The 5 ways, like he's mapping out a route, showing how we can use logic, reason, to arrive at a belief in God.
Exactly. And each way is like a different starting point for that journey. Like the first one, motion, we see it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But something had to start that motion, right? It can't go back forever. Something had to get the ball rolling. That ultimate source of motion, that's God, the unmoved mover.
Tracing it back to the beginning. The first cause. Elegant.
And that idea, tracing back to the source, it's the heart of his second way, too. Everything we see, it's caused by something else. But again, it can't just go back infinitely, right? There has to be a first cause, the uncaused cause. And for Aquinas, that's God.
So it's like, I don't know, finding the root of a tree or the source of a river. Keep going back, back, back until you find that one starting point.
Perfect analogy. And this idea, this need for a starting point, it leads right into his third way, contingency.
Contingency. Sounds complex.
It's actually pretty simple. It just means things depend on other things to exist.
Okay, like, a plant needs sunlight, right? A house needs a foundation.
You got it. And Aquinas, he's pointing out that if everything depended on something else, well, logically there had to be a time when nothing existed. But we're here, so something exists, meaning there must be something that just exists necessarily. It doesn't rely on anything else. And that's something. That's God.
Okay, so we've got motion, this chain of causes, something existing necessarily. It's like he's building an argument step by step. What's next?
His fourth way, it's a bit different. It's all about degrees of perfection. We see it all the time. Something is just better than others, right?
Yeah, totally. Like some paintings are more beautiful,
Right.
some actions more generous than others. We make those comparisons all the time.
Exactly. But Aquinas' point, to even make those judgments, we need a standard, an ultimate perfection, something that's the best, the truest.
Like a ruler, right.
Yeah.
You need that to measure against.
Exactly that. And for Aquinas, that ultimate standard, that perfect being, that's God.
Okay, 4 down, 1 to go. Hit me with the 5th way.
This one's the most famous, probably. The argument from design. Imagine finding a watch. Intricate, complex. You wouldn't think it just, like, appeared randomly.
Of course not. Someone made it, obviously.
Right. The complexity points to a designer. And Aquinas, he takes that same logic and applies it to the entire universe. The order, the complexity, how it all works together. For him, that's the signature of a designer.
5 different paths. Same conclusion. Impressive stuff. But Aquinas, he wasn't just into proving God, right? There's that whole natural law thing. That's huge, even today.
Absolutely. And it's still so relevant. See, with natural law, Aquinas wasn't saying, follow these random rules. It's deeper. Morality. It's built into the universe.
So not about what we're told is right or wrong, but like a deeper truth about how we're supposed to live.
You got it. Aquinas believed we can use reason to figure out these moral principles. They're true no matter what culture, what time period, and they come from God, imprinted on us, in our hearts, our minds.
Like a built-in compass, leading us to what's truly good.
I love that. It's about recognizing our natural inclinations towards self-preservation, knowledge, family. Those aren't random for Aquinas. They're signposts showing us the way to a good life, a life that fits with who we are, rational beings created by God.
And natural law, it's not just theoretical, right? It's had a real impact.
Oh, huge. It's everywhere. Ethics, law, politics, even how we think about justice, fairness, human rights. People can agree or disagree with him, but Aquinas really set the terms of the debate. His ideas, they're foundational.
Wow. To shape conversations for centuries. That's incredible.
Huh.
And speaking of shaping ideas, Aquinas on the soul. He goes deep on this one, building on Aristotle, but with his own twist.
He did. For both of them, the soul, it's the essence of a being. It's what gives you life form. But Aquinas, he takes a step further. The human soul, it's immortal.
So not just some temporary thing.
Exactly. The human soul, reason, love, relationship with God, it goes beyond the body. It lives on after death.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just faith for him. He made philosophical arguments too. Look at our abstract thought, our desire for perfect happiness. Those point to an immortal soul, he argued.
He's looking at what it means to be human, our desires, our longings, and he sees evidence for a soul that's meant for something more. Really powerful stuff.
It is, and it brings us back to a core idea for Aquinas, faith and reason. They're not opposed. They're two sides of the same coin. They work together, helping us make sense of existence, of everything.
It's amazing how relevant this stuff still is. But Aquinas, he wasn't some lone genius, right? He was part of something bigger.
Oh, absolutely. He was right in the thick of scholasticism. That was the intellectual movement of the Middle Ages. Debate, logic, using reason to explore faith. It was huge.
So not just blindly accepting things, but really digging into the big questions.
Exactly. And Aquinas, he was a master at it, that systematic approach, bringing together different ideas. He became a leader in that whole movement, shaped how people studied philosophy, theology for centuries.
Like he gave them a new framework for understanding religion, sure, but also like the whole world.
Totally. And that framework still matters.
Yeah.
Think about natural law. It's all over legal scholarship today. Bioethics, everything, really. Agree with him or not, he shaped the conversation.
Wow, that's real impact.
It really is. And it's not just natural law. There's a whole school of thought. Thomism's still going strong, studying Aquinas, building on his ideas, proof that he still has something to say, still challenges us to think.
This deep dive, it's more than just history then. It's about ideas that are still alive, still important.
Exactly. That's the best part of engaging with these great thinkers, right? They make us ask those big questions, challenge what we think we know. That search for truth, that was everything for Aquinas.
This has been an incredible journey. Faith, reason, truth. I feel like I'm seeing things in a whole new light.
Me too. And you know Aquinas, he'd love that. That's what he was all about, that journey of discovery. It's lifelong, heart and mind working together.
So as we wrap up, I think there's a takeaway here. Don't be afraid of the big questions. Be curious, like Aquinas was.
Yeah.
You might be surprised what you find out there.